Hello, and welcome to another installment of Royal versus the World, where today I want to have a conversation about culture, specifically that American culture and the mixing pot that is. And I want to kind of discuss what is good culture and what I perceive to be bad culture and things that are not things that we covet right now that are not really good for us in the long term. So one thing I want to kind of synthesize first is what is American culture, right? What is that? What is like the quintessential, if I could say it in one sentence or word, what is the American culture? United States of America, like Canada and Mexico. What is it? And I would definitely say it is power by any means through controlling consumption. Power by any means through controlling consumption. That just came off the top of my head. I may have to improve that, but that's what I think the history of the United States has been. It's always been about controlling and doing things by any means for the sake of the consumption of the few, the needs of the few, while creating a class and a situation to where people are constantly dependent for consumption. And that's in various lenses. That's in the lens of food, right? The base necessities, a roof, water, food. People control that, the quality of that, the price of that, your access to that, from the raw materials to the fruits to the um, waterways. They control all of that, right? It's not open to your consumption habits digitally, right? People control and have monopolies over music and movies and media, monopolies over social media, um, control over your data and the things that you can have access through paywalls and all these things. Again, it's ways that they're getting power through the act of consumption, right? And that's American culture at the end of the day. It's the people who succeed are the ones who exploit the most, who get the most, who give you something that you're addicted to, whether it's drugs or cocaine or music or social media, right? They give you the fix that consumers of most of the layman's man in the United States are consumers and they profit off of it. And it's a beast in itself, right? And that's, you can say it's capitalism, sure. That's a bit may be the better word to explain. Capitalism is a force that's constantly always trying to eat, and the goal is to have as much power. If you think of it in a game theory way, one thing about game theory, they say the most definitive way to win a game, any game, is to cheat. And I think the biggest way you can cheat is if you control the rules, if you can control the system to where it's you making the rules. I think that's even a better way to cheat, right? But that's American culture, right? And again, it gets nitty gritty when it comes to racial relations and when you get into the different cultures that we have that are in the mix of that fight, of course, who are in cycles of exploitation and being exploited and all of that. But that's American culture. And kind of talking about like more of pop culture, right? Pop culture is what is popular with all of us at this point, and it changes, right? You have your fads of the 80s, fads of the 70s, in the 90s, and trends and all those things that we relate to on a popular level across the board. Um, and sometimes pop culture can be good, sometimes it isn't. But I would say right now, in terms of culture, right? So what I think a good culture is, after I just explained American culture and how bad it is, in my own words. If you disagree, please comment your perspective. But um, you know, a good culture is one that is forward. It's elevating everyone, right? It's a accountability of knowing that your actions have influences on everyone, that we don't exist in a vacuum, that our needs don't meet are more valuable than the needs of all of us, and that something that affects a few of us has long-term ramifications that we can't even see down the future, right? Good culture is one that is uplifting for not only society but also the person. A good culture is a place to where people who live in that feel like they can reach their um peak, they can maximize the best of their ability, and they're not held back by systems and organizations and ideas and principles and reasons and philosophies. They are liberated in the sense that they can achieve the most, that they can have a sense of prosperity. And that culture is everything that promotes the current culture. That culture is the things that make you have FOMO and feel like you're missing out because you're not using social media. Are you missing out because you didn't watch that new movie that came out or that TV show on Netflix? You don't have Netflix. You don't have HBO or Disney Plus. You didn't watch this new TV show. It makes you feel like you have to be a part of the system. It guilts you into thinking that you're being no fun and that you're being too serious and that all the things that you're trying to change, it will never change. It keeps you in a place to where you are constantly feeding bad culture. It makes you feel contracted. It makes you feel powerless. It makes you feel like you can't reach your potential because there's so many obstacles in your way. You start to see other people as obstacles, damn near. That's what I feel is bad culture. And I say this all to say the things that we cover right now, Marvel or fandoms, I feel like those are, again, they're fun, and I may be a Debbie Downer, but those are tools of a system of bad culture. They have good aspects, sure. They make us feel things, right? They make us feel happy. They make us feel entertained. They make us feel connected with other people who share the same interests and fandoms. But at the end of the day, it's all superficial. That we're just feeding into a cycle of things that are not real for us. And yes, it may feel real, sure, it may feel important, but in the grand scheme of things, your interest in Marvel, your interest in these TV shows and these celebrities and these things are just distractions at the end of the day to keep you consuming. Power by any means, by controlling consumption. Yeah. And it's hard, right? Because when you're raised in the United States, you're raised to be a consumer from a young age. And growing up, and even I see this in people who have the luxury of escaping and not needing to be depending on these systems. It's really a luxury when that was a given, that you didn't have to have a phone or internet, that you could just exist on your own. something that we all are guaranteed when we're born on this earth is a right to our own autonomy, to do our own things, to be at peace and not be dependent on these things, right? Um, and it's hard. Like it makes you feel lonely. And that's again, that's part of the system. That's the point, right? People who are the outliers, they're seen as not fun. You miss out. Maybe you lose out on connections with people because they can't see a world in any other way because they have believed in this culture, you know? And again, it's hard. Like for me, like I would love to delete social media, but then I also think about my friends. And maybe that's just an excuse. It definitely is an excuse. I can just quit it, and if they are my friends, they will stick with me, right? So consumption is, I think, the biggest evil, the biggest failure of our current society. We're consumers, and our saving grace will be when we start creating our own paths, where we go down the crooked road of the unknown and escape the comfortability of this world that we live in, especially us in Gen Z, and strive to create a better culture, one where we are serious. And yes, we can have fun, but we are serious about the sanctity of culture, of not just us and what makes us feel good, of what is best for all of us as a society, and not virtue signal, but actually genuinely live that life, not acting, not trying to get attention or following the next big trend. No, putting our boots to the ground and getting shit done in our own way. And it can start small with our own battles with ourselves, against our ingrained consumer habits. And it can be bigger with us supporting movements and things that bring a better culture in this world, no matter how small. And in the hopes that that all ends up spreading and fighting the current and insurmountable bad culture we have. But that was my spill. I wanted to record this a second time to like synthesize my thoughts and be more direct. Um, so let me know your thoughts, your perspective, um, and maybe if you have any advice if if you're someone who's ahead and you're already at a place, what does it look like living in this bad culture and creating a good culture on your own? How do you do that yourself? And how do you get over the programming and deprogramming yourself into becoming that more realized version of yourself, detached from the culture? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was Roy versus the World talking about culture. And yeah, see you on the next one.